For objects that are big and dense, the subsurface scattering might not work properly, as it works mostly as a surface effect rather than something what is happening inside the object. Especially when we bring the scale value to something higher and change the radius color to white, we can see that some parts of the model has unnatural colors and just look weird. For these purposes, we are using volume shaders that actually can control how the light behaves inside the object, not only near its surface. Let's go back to our basic scene and add a volume scatter shader. We need to unplug the surface input to see the result. With the default value, it looks more like a smoke, so let's set the density value to something higher. Now it's starting to look like a subsurface scattering we talked about in the previous lesson. The higher the value, the more solid it will look like, but the light will be still able to go through. Sometimes the object might look a bit dark while using the volume scatter, and it might be happening because of the maximum bounces of light. To make the volume a little bit brighter, let's go to the Render Properties panel and then to Light Paths, and let's increase the volume bounces to 3. As we can see, object got brighter, but remember that increasing amount of light bounces will significantly increase the render time. So use high values only when necessary. Another option the object might appear darker is anisotropy. The negative value will result in scattering the light mostly forward, what appears in brighter object, and positive values will do the opposite. Light will be scattered mostly backwards, and part of the object facing towards the light source will become slightly darker. When I'm changing the color of the volume scatter shader, you probably can see that the output color is inverted. This shader only scatters the light and it's not letting the light rays to actually bounce inside the object. So to achieve a proper result, we need to add both volumes together. So let's now combine both of these shaders. I will also change the color of the volume absorption by dragging it from the volume scatter node. I will change the density too. And now the color is looking okay. Instead of letting the light bounce inside the object, volume absorption traps the light inside and absorbs it. Let's add the new volume absorption node. By default, the color is set to pure white, which means that all the light is passing through the object. So we need to change the color to something different, like orange, and change the density to something like 20. It's typically used for things like liquids or colored glass, which we will create as an example. Let's decrease the density of our volume absorption node and set the desired color, and I'll go with orange. To make the effect more visible, we'll add another volume scatter node and set its density to 10, and then add it to the absorption. Next, we need to create the glass part of our material. I'll use the default glass shader. Don't forget that we need to plug the glass shader to the surface material input and the volume to the volume input. Immediately, we can see the results. The glass itself became colored, and it feels like the color comes from inside of the object, not only the surface. Before the next lesson, try to experiment with densities and colors to create a cloud-like material.